is.
Rick, how good was your defense starting in the second half?
It was good. I think if I would have played for Colorado, I would have scored double figures in the first half, the way we guarded the first half. So it was good. Just it gets back to the same thing. You can look back at when we played Kentucky. We got down, I think it was 17, and these kids refused to lay it down. And we forced them into 32 turnovers and gave ourselves a chance with the ball to tie the game. Now, we didn't get it done, but these kids are resilient. They came out and played the second half and defended like a team with a lot of urgency. That's what needs to happen this time of year.
Frank, what kind of achievement is it if you guys were to finish fourth in the league, especially going off the 0-4 starters? That's something you wait and process after the years.
If you're in the Big 12, the Big East, the ACC, and you go 9-3 over your last 12 games in conference play, you've done something right, and your kids have done something right. And I hear all this bubble talk and all this stuff, which I don't pay attention to it because none of it makes sense to me. I listen to stuff that makes sense to me. If you're gonna reward teams for winning good games, then being in a big power conference should be as important as anything else. Because you play 16 high-level games when you're one of the power conferences. If it's all about the non-conference schedule, then we should all be independents. I don't want to hear that stuff that I think we've got 4 top 50 RPI wins, 3 or 4. I'm not sure because I don't pay attention to it. The end of the day, you got to win games. I know this: to go 9-3 over your last 12 conference games shows that your team's pretty darn good, and that's what we've done. And if we're the 4 seed, and then so be it. We got to line up at Oklahoma City and go win games. And Hugs said it best, and it's his theory to this day. You want to get in the tournament, go win games. And whether we have won enough or not, it's not my decision to make. It's not the people at ESPN to make that decision. It's the people who sit on that committee. They'll make decisions there, and they do a pretty good job of it every time that they get to select teams.
Was that a good non-conference schedule for you guys, the way it was constructed as you look back on it?
Here, I'm going to answer this question for the last time. Okay. Wagner picked to win their league in the preseason. Gardner-Webb picked to win their league in the preseason. Cleveland State picked to win their league in the preseason. Those are good teams. It's not my fault that they fell apart. Oakland picked to win their league in the preseason. It's not my fault that they lost 12 games. That hurts our RPI, that those teams have gone on and not done as well as they were expected. When we scheduled them, we expected those to be good wins for us, top 100 wins, top 150 wins. They haven't had a good year. I can't control that. I can't help that. We played Kentucky on a neutral floor. It's not my fault Kentucky hasn't had the year they expected to have. We played Iowa on a neutral floor. It's not my fault their best player flunked out in December and their center got hurt and didn't play up until about a week ago. I can't control those things. It's not my fault that Oregon lines up and has the bad year they've had. Those are things out of our control. What we could have controlled is winning those games. Now, whether we win them or lose them, their RPI has become so bad that it doesn't help us. I'll give you an example. We lost to Iowa, we lost to Oregon. If you take those 2 teams off our schedule, we lost at the buzzer pretty much both games. You take those 2 teams off our schedule, and you put us Duke, UCLA, you pick the teams, and we lose by 50 in both buildings, our RPI be in the 50s right now. That doesn't make sense to me. But that's what the RPI measures. It's not just what you do, but what everyone on your schedule does. And when we schedule teams, we don't schedule teams and say, I want to win on December the 4th, so find me the worst team you can find. No, we don't do that. Now, you also have to understand that we were a young basketball team, and we needed to make sure that our non-conference schedule prepared us for the Big 12, challenged us to grow as a team, and at the same time gave us the opportunity for our kids to grow. It's stuff that not just me, every coach in America does with their team. When you have an experienced team and you've got pros on your team, then you can go out and go fight the dogs every single day, because that's what those guys need to do. We scheduled teams that we felt were going to be good RPI games for us. Didn't work out. I can't control that. Only thing I can control is whether we win or lose the games on our schedule. And the opportunities that we had, we didn't do a good job of it early in the year. Now, with all that said, we've done a pretty darn good job of it over the last month and a half. And I don't understand why that part of it won't get rewarded.
There are things you can control, there are things you can't. Obviously, you can control your response, though, and if a week from now, if Kansas State finishes fourth and they select number 1, 2, 3, 5, and 6 in the Big 12 to go to the NCAA tournament, what are you thinking at that point?
We didn't win enough games. I have no control over that, Scott.
Right.
I'm not a politician. Maybe I need to hire a politician to get on ESPN every day. And, our league doesn't get the respect it deserves. Our league needs 6 teams in this thing. If our league does not get 6 teams in, whatever those 6 they choose, it's a joke. It's an absolute joke. We're the 3rd RPI league in the country. We've got more wins in non-conference games than any league in the country except the Big East. We've won, as a league, I think it's 9 against the top 25 in the country. Obviously, we had nothing to do with the top 25 wins. But still, we're part of a league that accomplished those things, and we're 9-3 against those teams that were able to accomplish those kind of things. We've won 5 road games. You tell me how many other bubble so-called teams have won 5 games in other buildings, not neutral sites, on other people's floors. We've done some good things. Now, if they leave us out, I can't control what those people do. My heart will go out for those kids in that locker room because I know how hard they fought and how hard they fought for us and how hard they've worked to do everything that we've asked them to do. So my heart will go out for them. But at the end of the day, it's like everything else. You can only cry over things that you can control. And we should have played better the last 3 minutes and 45 seconds at Oklahoma State. We should have played better in the middle portion of the Kentucky game. We should have played better the last 2 minutes of the Iowa game where we finally took the lead after being down the whole game, and we didn't. So we got no one to blame but ourselves. However, if we're 4th in the Big 12, and that's not good to get you in, there's a problem with being in a big league.
How much can a young team like yours grow in March in a tournament setting?
That's that many more practices you get. That's the great thing about playing in the postseason. You get to continue practicing your team, evolving your team, challenging your team, and lining up and playing against the so-called best teams in the country. And going out and finding success against those so-called teams gives you confidence, coupled with the extra practices and extra experiences, which is what it's all about. You want to beat the heavyweight champion, you better be willing to step in the ring with them. And that's what playing in the postseason is.